Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen, wrapping up another week here with only one full week remaining until the Philadelphia Eagles take the practice field in the following week. We're about 11 days out from the Birds reporting to camp and about 12 days out from them practicing. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Football Friday, my friend?
Doing well. Closing in, creeping up. Keep knocking those days down. It'll be here before you know it.
Yep.
Knock them down.
No doubt about it. Knocking them down, knock them dead, J-Mac. And as we inch closer here, I think the place will start this morning. We have a good show planned. By the way, we'll have Jeff Kerr here in hour number 2. Many of you have been looking for Jeff. He was not on with us on Monday. He was enjoying the All-Star festivities. Don't get
his own field of dreams.
Don't get McMullen started on that. We'll talk to Jeff Kerr in hour number 2. And in hour number 1 here, we'll talk to Paul Domowitch. All right, his new book on Sam Mills is coming out, and we'll talk to Paul about that a little bit. The book is called Just Give Me a Chance to Fail, The Life of NFL Hall of Fame Linebacker Sam Mills by Paul Domowitch. We'll talk to him in hour number 1.
Say it? We got it. I got it.
There you go. Wow, good-looking book too, huh? Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, and if you can see the bottom.
Hold it up a little there. I make it full screen here.
Let's see if I can get it.
There you go.
Forward by Vic Fangio.
There you go. So, that's good.
Eagles fans will be interested in that because Vic loves Sam Mills. Has a picture of Sam in his office, has everywhere he goes. Developed obviously from an undrafted player in 1981 to a Pro Football Hall of Famer, which is rare.
Yeah,
I talk about John Randall all the time because I got to cover him. It does not happen often. And, the Philadelphia part of it as well, Sam broke through with the old Philadelphia Stars of the USFL.
Yeah, right. So. Is that where Vic knew him from or started with him?
Yeah, that's where he started. And then he brought him to New Orleans. He became Jim Mora was the coach of the Stars, and he hired Vic Fangio. Jim Mora did such a great job with the Stars that he ultimately got the job in New Orleans to be the head coach there. Brought Vic along. Vic got Sam Mills in there, and they quickly turned into having one of the best linebacker groups of all time, with Sam being sort of the leader of it. So, and that's where Vic's sort of expertise in linebacking sort of developed, and that's where it took roots. It was, they called him the Dome Patrol for old school football fans. It was Sam Mills, it was Vaughn Johnson, it was Ricky Jackson, it was Pat Swilling, and it was one of the greatest linebacking groups of all time, really.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, man. Vic Fangio's history with linebackers. Boy, could he go down as one of the best backer coaches of all time? I see that comment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, he's one of the best coaches of all time.
Yeah,
so defensive coaches. He's already reached that level. Just recently, he was honored by the Pro Football Writers with the Lifetime Achievement Award for assistant coaches. So he's already at that level. But certainly, in when you look at him, and again, he's the Kyle Shanahan of defense. More people copy Vic Fangio than anybody else around this league, and that to me is that tells you where you are in the industry, how many people copy you, and nobody's copied on the defensive side more than Vic Fangio. So, yeah, he's already reached that level. But if you were to boil it down and say, what's his expertise? It's linebacker.
Yeah. Well, safe to say Jihad Campbell is in good hands, Johnny Mack, and Zach Bond is obviously another unbelievable story that goes from the Saints practice or the Saints special teams unit to the starting all-pro, first-team all-pro linebacker with the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously a part of that Super Bowl team, big part of that Super Bowl team with the pick interception in the Super Bowl. Pretty amazing story there from Vic Fangio. John, just a couple minutes here before we get to Paul Adamowicz. I have some home tending to do during that interview, so I'll drop off, let you and Paul go back and forth with it a little bit. I want to stay on the defensive side here, John. What kind of expectation do you have for Andrew Makuba this year? He's a second round pick. Last year was year one. I believe he came on pretty good in the second half of his year. He only played, 12 or 13 games after going down. But I think in the second half of his season, he played pretty strong. And now it seems as though the Eagles are putting a lot of eggs in the Andrew Makuba basket after making really no other moves at safety. They have potentially Marcus Epps, the slot in next to him. And it feels as though with the loss of Reed Blankenship and some of the turnover at safety over the last few years, they're putting that on Andrew Makuba to be that guy in the Eagles on the Eagles safety group. What do you make of it? And what's kind of your expectation for him as a player here in year two?
Well, certainly there's a big, a big hope that he'll take a huge step forward in year two. I think there was a lot of positives in year one. It did end early with the fractured fibula on friendly fire, so to speak, with Sidney Brown sort of rolling into him. So it's just one of those bad luck type plays, but there was a lot of positive. And speaking of Vic was very hard on him. And I think, one of the positive things is that Drew took that well. Like a lot of young players, we heard the stories in Miami. That's the one thing with Vic Fangio. We all know he's very blunt. He's very honest. And, some people don't take that well. And Drew Makuba seems to take it really well. So I think that's a positive sign because he doesn't get, in his feelings. He knows Vic is just trying to make him a better player. And Vic wants to make him a better player. He's invested. So I think all that is positive. But yeah, I mean, the same stuff why the Eagles drafted him. He's a perfect fit for what Vic likes in the safeties. He's more of a coverage player. He's very comfortable in space. That's what the Eagles always say, because a lot of guys panic in space, especially safeties, because safeties are usually in coverage. They're usually mismatches when one of the great receivers gets on them. And a lot of them aren't comfortable in space. And Makuba is, a lot of that is his college career, which started at Clemson, finished at Texas. He played a lot of slot. So you hear that almost constantly with some of the Eagles safety that have slot and potentially see Cooper DeJean. And they like that versatility and they like the coverage aspect of it. So you have to be comfortable. There are a couple plays. And he got really dressed down by Vic after, a poor game against the Giants. He talked about it with Ty Dunn in the off season. And that's where you kind of saw that he took the criticism well. There was that play in Tampa where he sort of got turned around. Should have been an interception, but ended up as a big play for the Buccaneers, got him back in the game. So, there were some rookie mistakes, but most of it was all positive, and you see the playmaking ability and the speed and the coverage ability and that ability to be comfortable in space. So, I mean, yeah, they I don't want to say they put all their eggs in one basket, but they're counting on him to be a really good player. And, the other spot, well, it's Marcus Epps or Michael Carter. They got to be the traffic cop. They got to be the Reed Blankenship. And Drew's got to be the playmaker. It's not that simple, but it kind of is that simple.
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, I think Drew Makuba has to have a big year this year. And how much do you think he'll be helped, John, by, in my opinion, an improved cornerback group? Now, obviously, you're not going to improve much on what Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were able to do. But I do believe Tariq Woolen is an upgrade over Adoree Jackson. I don't think Adoree was horrible, but I think Woolen gives you a higher upside with that group. How much does that group help offset maybe any deficiencies you might have at the safety position?
Yeah, I mean, certainly some. It's cover and rush and cover.
Right.
The pass rush as well has a big impact. So, what's going to help is the multitude of talent they have, not only in the front seven, but at outside corner, which you look on paper and say, well, safety's the one spot where there might be a little bit of a concern. And that's true, but if you got a good pass rush and the ball is coming out quick and the first reads are taken away because the corners are so good, yeah, that's going to make things easier for the safeties. And you're not going to really get an opportunity or too many opportunities to use long developing routes and double moves that maybe you can take advantage of a safety biting or being a little bit undisciplined. So it certainly should help. Not only the corners, but everybody else. So, and that's sort of defensive football. When you're really good, everybody's on the same page. But I would say more than if you want to break it down individually, the pass rush is more important to the safeties than the corners. I mean, there's not much. I mean,
right,
that they're just part of the whole coverage picture. The pass rush is important.
If the pass rush stinks, it's going to be tough.
Exactly.
Tough.
Exactly. So I think the pass rush is the more important part for everybody on the back end.
But John, the old saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. This weak link, I'll put the quotes up there though with the quotation marks, doesn't seem to be swaying you much off of what your belief in what this Eagles defense can be this year. Is that so? Maybe it's not as weak of a link as some are thinking, or maybe they're just strong enough everywhere else that it hasn't swayed your opinion. I don't want to speak for you. How do you respond to that?
No, well, everybody, you can look at the projected better defenses, Houston, Denver, those teams, nobody's perfect. You can't have an all pro at every position. You can't have a pro bowler at every position. So I do think Drew Makuba has a big upside. So I think he's going to be a good player. And then you have a little bit of a weakness at the other safety spot. Okay, I'll take the Eagles front. I'll take the Eagles corners. I'll take the Eagles linebackers. It's going to be fine if guys are healthy. And that's why we talk about the offense so much, because there's a lot of uncertainty there. On the defense, it's not, are they going to be good? It's how good are they going to be? They're going to be good. It's just a matter of, are they going to be top 5 good? Or are they going to be sort of like last year when there were some little pockets where they could be, and most notably in the San Francisco game, and as they got eliminated, that bad offense, and it was bad, but they took the lead. They gave them the lead twice, and they couldn't hold it. So that's sort of the difference between, good and then really dominant.
Right. Makes sense. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Good opening segment here. A little bit on Sam Mills. We're going to talk to Paul Domowitch here in just a second on Birds 365. Make sure you guys go and follow Domo on X at PDomo, and also subscribe to his Substack, pauldomowitch.substack.com. That's where you can get his work. Johnny Mac, I'm going to tend to this, and I'll let you and Domo kick it around a little bit, and then I will be back on later. All right, brother?
All right, sounds good. And let's pop up Domo from the green room. I see him in there. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. At P Domo, Zander mentioned very good to see you. The great Paul Domowitch. And, Paul is back and he's got a new book to plug. So that's where we're going to start. And it's, I'll tell you what, for people who love the history of football, this is one of, I think, the most underrated players in my mind. Pro Football Hall of Fame linebacker Sam Mills. I got to cover the Vikings earlier in my career. I talked the same way about John Randall. When you have an undrafted guy, that you got to get an opportunity, and then for them to go all the way to develop into a Hall of Famer, it's amazing. It really is. And that was Sam Mills, but there's so much more to his story. And here's the book, by the way. I want to pop it up for everybody. Everybody should get it. Amazon.com. And for Philadelphia people, there's a lot of Philadelphia connections. A, he's a Jersey guy. B, he started with the Philadelphia Stars. And I know, Dama, and that's where Vic started. And Vic Fangio did the forward for your book. And Vic loves Sam Mills. He loves Sam Mills to this day. And why not? As he turned into that Hall of Fame player, wrote the forward to your book. So welcome to the program, as I said, and just give the people sort of an opportunity to let them know where they can pre-order it. Let them know why you wanted to write this book and what it means to you.
Yeah, thanks, John, and it's good to talk to you again. They can order it on Amazon.com right now. There's a link. I think you provided it online this morning. It's due out July 28th, but I mean, I know people that have pre-ordered it that already have gotten it. So there's no waiting. I mean, after I left the newspaper business, John, I wanted to write a book. Sam was right at the top of the people I wanted to write about because I had covered him at the beginning of his pro career in 1983. And he's just a fascinating, inspirational story. I mean, he's the ultimate underdog. 5'9" linebacker that was time and time again told he wasn't big enough to play. Even the guy that, Jim Mora co-presented him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and when he was inducted posthumously in 2022. When he first met him, he said, we got to cut him. We can't keep him. I mean, he's too small. They'd laugh at us. and he went from that to, after coaching him for 12 years, saying he's the greatest player he ever, the best player he ever coached, which, as everyone knows, Jim Moore also coached Peyton Manning. So that's saying a lot. I'm really excited about this because his story needs to be told. And you don't have to be a football fan to enjoy this book. I mean, it's an underdog story for anybody that's been told, they're not good enough, they're not big enough, they're this or that, because he just wouldn't take no for an answer, as the title of the book indicates. Just give me a chance to fail. All he wanted was an opportunity. Finally got one with the Stars in the USFL, which was kind of the lifeline for him. If that hadn't come along, he would have gone into teaching and coaching. And it's, the rest is history. I mean, he ends up with a terrific career, dies too early of cancer at the age of 45, and then has to wait 20 years to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and even for modern football fans who follow the league, I think everybody knows sort of the Carolina Panthers and their sort of ethos, and it's keep pounding, and even that relates back to an emotional speech that Sam Mills gave, and that's still their tagline today, Damo. Keep pounding. The Panthers, all their marketing, all their branding. So it is a tremendous story. I recommend everybody, if you love the NFL, you should get this book, certainly. And for Eagles fans, obviously, you got Vic to do the forward, which is big to begin with. But, when I was reading it, and it was like, wow, this guy really loves Sam Mills. And there's so much to it. You talk about that dome patrol, which I've talked about a lot over the years. I think it's one of the more, because the Saints, for whatever reason, are not the most high profile team. But you had Sam, you had Vaughn Johnson, you had Pat Swilling, you had Ricky Jackson. I mean, and that's where Vic sort of started in the NFL as the linebackers coach, and you go all forward to where we are today with Vic Fangio. Most copied defensive mind in the NFL. I would argue the best because he's the most copied. And his expertise as linebacker, we talked for years, Damo, that like the Eagles don't care about linebackers. And then Vic gets here, and all of a sudden they care about linebackers again.
That's right.
Yeah. So his expertise, and it's funny because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vic was with Jim Mora hired him with the Stars, and then he got to New Orleans with Jim as the linebackers coach. And then it was quickly after that, he was like a defensive coordinator from that point forward, and then a head coach. But his expertise is linebackers.
He was hired by Jim as a graduate assistant, more or less, a low-level, entry-level guy. He had been a graduate assistant in North Carolina the year before. The idea was he'd come and help Mora in '84, and then go back to North Carolina. Well, after a season with Jim, they won the championship, and Jim offered him a full-time job, and the two of them have been close ever since. In fact, in an irony, when you consider Bill Polian was such an important part of this story because of him being the general manager of the Carolina Panthers in 1995 when Sam went there for the last 3 years of his career. Well, Bill's the general manager in Indianapolis in '99. He hires Jim after he leaves New Orleans, and 2 years later, their defense is really struggling. And he goes to Jim and says, or 3 years later, he says, Jim, you got to fire your defensive coordinator. And, Jim refuses and ends up getting fired because he wouldn't fire it. It was either if he was going to fire his defensive coordinator, he was leaving too. So that defensive coordinator ended up being Vic Fangio, and Jim would not refuse to fire him. And, later Vince and Vic and Bill Polian end up getting reunited in Carolina when Dom Capers hires him. But it's just a kind of a small NFL world sometimes. And
that's the nature of it. I talk about coaching all the time here at Damo, and it's like there's some really good. Every good coach, it's such basically a transient profession. I mean, if you're a coach, you're going to move around. I mean, you could be the best coach in the world, but either at the start of your career or in the case when you don't reach expectations, and that no indication, the better indication in Philadelphia, when things go well, it's peaches and cream. But when things go poorly, somebody's got to pay. And it's generally going to be the assistants and ultimately the head coach. But that's sort of how it works. And but with Vic and Sam, how did that come about? How'd you? And I know we were talking to Vic a little bit in the off season, and his eyes lit up when we talked about the book. How'd you pull that off? How'd you get Vic to do it?
I knew it wouldn't take much. Because I knew how much he loved Sam. I remember doing a story a few years back when Vic got the Denver job in 2019, and they started that first year like 0-4. And the Saturday before the fifth game, he put together a film, a short clip, 10-minute clip of Sam Mills, who had died like 14 years later, who nobody on the Denver Broncos had ever played with, obviously. Put together this whole thing about, showing his clips of him playing, the keep pounding thing, everything, and played it for his team the Saturday night before the game. They went out the next day and kicked butt and won and ended up having a pretty good season. I forget what they finished, but they played well. So I knew what Sam to him. He's everywhere he's gone since Sam died in 2005. He has a picture of Sam on his wall. And I've known Vic for a long time. So, I mean, the minute I asked him to do this, he couldn't say yes fast enough. I mean, and along the way, anytime I needed, I had a question about something in the book, I'd text him and he'd get right back to me, and he was only too happy to help. He's actually going to be, after the end of the preseason, we're going to do a book signing event up in at the Great American Pub in Conshohocken the week after, between the end of the preseason and Labor Day weekend. We're going to do a book signing, and he'll be up there. So I hope we get a lot of people up there for that.
Yeah. We'll remind the people when that is locked in. But yeah, I think people will be thrilled and to learn more about Sam. You mentioned the sad part. 2005, he passed away. I think it was the Super Bowl season, when the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. They made that big postseason run.
Right.
I think it was 38, maybe Super Bowl.
Yeah, the year before the Eagles went, that was 39. So yeah, Super Bowl 38.
Yeah, got diagnosed with intestinal cancer, which is obviously horrible. But he was told he only had a few months to live, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong with any of this.
Yeah.
And he got treatment, and he still continued to coach. And he was sort of that inspiration of that Panthers postseason run and the keep pounding stuff. That's where it started on that Super Bowl run. So that's a big part of the story as well, I imagine. And that kind of stuff it goes far beyond football, as you talked about, that even non-football fans will enjoy this story about, as you called him, the ultimate underdog, who's in so many Hall of Fames I can't keep up. I don't know. He's in the Panthers Hall of Fame, the Saints, whether they call them Ring of Honors Hall of Fames. Obviously the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What was it like? Because for those who don't know, and we've talked about it over the years, Damo's the Eagles Hall of Fame selector, Philadelphia selector, not the Eagles. But what was that process like with Sam? The discussions, it took a while, but and there's obvious, how hard is it for guys to put the pedigree behind them, do you think?
Well, I think he also was hurt by the fact that if the Saints, he played on one, as you mentioned earlier, the Dome Patrol was one of the best linebacking corps in NFL history, but they were horrible in the playoffs. They went 0-4 in 4 playoff trips. And, the Hall of Fame selectors tend to be biased about players that played on winning teams as opposed to guys like Sam, who never made it to the Super Bowl as a player. And that really hurt him. So then he passes away. He finally made, it's weird because you get 20 years as a modern era candidate to get in the Hall of Fame before they put you in the senior pool, and you're pretty much gone forever. He made the finals the 2 previous years before he finally got into the Hall of Fame, and didn't move the needle. I mean, he went, he's one of 15 finalists. We discussed him. Me and Darren Gant from Charlotte and Jeff Duncan from New Orleans passionately made his case. And he never, we vote for the reduction vote from 15 to 10, and he doesn't move the needle. He doesn't survive. Same thing the second year as a finalist. So we get to 2022. It's his last year as a modern era candidate. We don't know what's going to happen. We made the case that, hey, this guy's not only should be in the Hall of Fame, but this is his last chance. This is, year 20. He didn't make it this year. We're not going to be talking about him again. And, so we didn't know how that was going to play. We didn't know if it would move people. And we vote. And sure enough, he makes the cut to 10, makes the cut to 5, and is in the Hall of Fame. And, so, it's probably, there's been a lot of times during my course as a Hall of Fame selector when it's been very gratifying. When Ed Sable when I helped him get in 2011, and a couple of other guys that I felt deserved to get in. But helping get Sam in was very gratifying, and I was really happy. That's when I said this process works. I mean, this is when you realize that people can change their minds if you convince them, and that's kind of what happened with Sam.
And I'm glad it did. Tremendous player, and there's so many. I think we all have our own biases. My bias, like I'm really hard with the new guys, like because to me, guys like Sam's a perfect example. But the older players, that generation, they're legendary to me. So I kind of measure them. I go, is this guy really a Hall of Famer? So I'm tougher on the new guys. I don't know how you get over that hump. Like receivers, I use receivers all the time because the numbers exploded because the game changed. And I think, people look at Stallworth or somebody like that, or Lynn Swan and say, why you talk about these guys? Their numbers are not impressive. And I'm like, it was a different game. And I always, if I was ever in that room, I would always advocate to judge people against their peers. Punter's a great Ray guy, because I've had this discussion with some of the younger guys who cover the Eagles, and they're like, well, what's so great? Everybody, now everybody's average is 47, 48. I'm like, look at Ray Guy at the moment compared to everybody else. He was so much better than everybody else. So I think that's important to, try to place yourself in the era. But anyway, that's my discussion. I also want to, I don't think I've ever asked you this, and I'm shocked because I'm so interested in the Philadelphia Stars. I always have been. I thought it was such a unique, exciting team for, obviously a lesser league, but they had so many good players, and Jim Mora and Carl Peterson and Vic Fangio. What was it like covering those teams, Donna?
I think I've written this in maybe my farewell column with the Daily News and Inquirer, but that was the most fun experience of my life. I mean, I was young. I was like 27 back then. New league. These guys had no inhibitions as far as what they would talk to you about. They were a lot of them were on their second, third, fourth chance. It was just a tremendous experience to cover them. Got to know, that's kind of where I got to know and establish relationships with a lot of executives and coaches that went on to the NFL. Obviously, I mean, that the Stars themselves had like 4 guys that became general managers, 5, I believe, that became head coaches in the NFL, and God knows how many that became offensive and defensive coordinators. So, it was just I loved it. I covered them for the first 2 years. Their third year, they ended up basically being a road team playing their games down in University of Maryland and winning the championship, even though they never played a home game that year. But it was fun. And like you said, they had because of the fact that the NFL at the time did not have free agency. They were not paying, they were paying as little as possible to players. So the USFL was a welcome opportunity for a lot of guys who were only too happy to jump the fence if they were paid more. The USFL draft was in January, so they were cherry picking all these guys before the NFL even had a chance to draft them. So they got good quick. I mean, the NFL, the Stars by their second year could have beaten a number of teams in the NFL. Unfortunately, when you do what they did, you also run out of money real quick. I mean, they were popular, but they were not that popular. They weren't getting enough money from TV. And then Donald Trump comes along and wants to move them to the fall so he can get his own NFL team.
Yeah,
we saw how that worked out. So but it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience, right down to the USFL NFL trial in New York City in 1986.
Yeah, and Sam obviously was a part of those teams, but they had some great. I remember Kelvin Bryant and Irv
Yeah.
Eatman, guys, high level players.
They had five Hall of Famers that came out of that league. Sam, Reggie
Gary
White,
Zimmerman, Reggie White.
Gary
I covered Gary. Who
yeah,
else? Anthony
Gary,
Carter too. I covered. He wasn't a Hall of Famer, but he was a
yeah,
great player.
Jim Kelly and Steve Young.
Oh, Jim Kelly, yeah, Steve Young,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yeah, a lot of great players. People forget how many great NFL players played in that league.
And Philadelphia
Keith Millard was another one. Didn't turn into a Hall of Famer, but was a tremendous player.
The Stars had so many. The numbers are in the book on how many Pro Bowls the Stars players went on to appear in, how many All Pros, how many years they played in the NFL. I mean, the numbers are staggering. I mean, there were more than a dozen. I think 18 players from their team went on to the NFL and made more than like 35, 40 starts at least. So it was staggering. I mean, they were a fun team to watch, and Philadelphia embraced them. They averaged their second year, like I want to say, about 40,000 fans a game.
Wow, was it that much? Wow.
Yeah, they got a parade. It was semi parade down from JFK Plaza down Broad Street. So after they won the championship in '84, so it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, interesting time too, as you pointed out with the NFL. Earlier this week, ironically, and I'm glad we got a question from a listener, viewer, and I said I'd ask you. And this is an example of my bias. And talking about Shady McCoy, is he a Hall of Famer? I want Paul Domowitz's thought process on that to be. I don't want to muddy the water, so I don't want to tell you what I said, but you can probably guess from my bias. But so I give you the floor. What do you think of Shady's case?
I did a story on him on this very subject, I want to say, shortly after he retired. And I mean, I looked at his numbers, and I mean, I watched him play. I mean, he didn't have to convince me of his ability. I think he belongs in the conversation, John. I mean, there's a group of running backs that have similar numbers that he does. I mean, he deserves consideration. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, there's some players like Donovan. I mean, I saw too much of the negative of Donovan. I mean, you could look at his numbers and everything, and there's just something that I felt isn't Hall of Fame-ish there. He belongs in the Hall of Very Good. Shady, I would, I mean, he would probably get my vote if he made it to the final 25, final 15. I would have no trouble making a case for him.
Yeah, very good. Tremendous player. I said the same thing. Tremendous player. I said kind of borderline for me. I would say just under, because I'm a little bit biased, but I looked at, I don't know how much you pay attention to Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor, but I find it valuable with their comparisons. Mm-hmm. And they have him as an average, which is silly to me, but the average Hall of Famer, which is silly. I mean, there's no such thing, but that's what they title it. So you have the top group, which is Walter Payton and Jim Brown and Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. There's not a lot. Tomlinson, OJ, Eric Dickerson, Adrian Peterson, Marshall Faulk. Those are the tippy top.
Right.
And then you go down to the next grouping, which starts with guys like Terrell Davis and Frank Gore. And Shady's in that category, right, with Curtis Martin and Leroy Kelly and guys like that. So, I mean, he's got a strong case. And I might be a little bit biased. I might be a little bit too harsh, but I think the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the best Hall of Fame because I think it's really hard to get in. It's not a hall of very good.
Bill Belichick would agree.
Yeah, there's a perfect example. So yeah, I would have voted for Bill, but obviously there's some
Yeah,
other
so I did,
issues
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
I would assume they'll change the rules this year.
Yeah,
I haven't.
he'll get in. But it is interesting, the first ballot aspect. Just as real, because I would have swore that Randall McDaniel would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I would have said, John Randall, it'll take him a few years. He'll get in, but it'll take him. It's the exact opposite. So
Yeah.
I don't have a good feel for it, but you guys do a tremendous job. While we have a few minutes left, I want to talk to you about the current Eagles. I don't know how much you're paying attention, but obviously, boy, this is interesting, Damo. I mean, that the success they've had with this particular quarterback, you understand things need to evolve. You understand you can't stand still. At the same time, I think there's room to evolve within the strengths of the quarterback's skill set versus we're going to play Kyle Shanahan's offense. We're going to put him under center. And by the way, I think it has more to do with fixing the running game than the passing game.
Right.
But we're going to put him under center in year 7 and say, go be a play action quarterback. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to Paul Domelich at all.
Well, I mean, it's typical that you always, the coordinator is going to make some adjustments to his play, to the players he's coaching. But bottom line is he's got a scheme, and that's what, you bring him in, that's what he's going to play. Jalen's played for so many damn offensive coordinators over his career and has always been able to make the transition to whatever they were believed in. My biggest concern this year is how he's going to make the adjustment to throwing more over the middle, throwing with anticipation, throwing in rhythm compared to, what he's done in the last couple of years where he's kept his interceptions down by throwing a lot outside the numbers. Well, that's going to change this year. And I think early on there might be some rough spots as he adjusts to that difference. But I think he'll be fine. I think that, for me, it all comes down to that offensive line, John. And I'm concerned about it. Lane Johnson's 36, coming off a major injury. He's still an all-pro caliber player, but he's 36, and my faith in him staying healthy for more than 12 games is not high. And then, you've got the two other guys who are coming off, they had to go to Columbia for stem cell therapy to continue their.
I know.
That's like putting, you're patching things here, you're putting mud on this, and
Medellin stem cells. I said, that's my, when people talk about the most important aspects of the Eagles, I always say Medellin stem cells. That's a big part of it.
But if they stay healthy, I think Saquon will have a great year, and it'll take a lot of pressure off Jalen. But if that doesn't happen, if the offensive line stumbles or gets hurt and has to play a lot of backups, it could be a long year.
Yeah. But I do think the floor remains pretty high because of the defense. I think the defense is, when you popped into the green room, that's where we're talking about. They're going to be good. It's just a matter of how good. And if they start to click. So I do think the floor is pretty high, but the ceiling, there's a little bit more uncertainty than there has been in the past. Since we haven't talked to you in a while, what'd you think about the whole A.J. Brown mess and finally moving on from him?
Yeah, I think I lost a lot of patience with him. He was the book on the sidelines. He put there's a lot of pressure on Jalen. These two were good friends. I believe he's one of AJ's son's godfather. They were close. And yet by the end, Jalen's feeling so much pressure to get him the ball because of his whining. I like what they've done in reshaping the wide receiver core. They're going to be different. I mean, you look at, you mentioned Shanahan earlier. You go back the 8 years Shanahan's coached San Francisco, they've never had a wide receiver catch more than 80 balls. And that's what you're going to see here. I mean, Devontae is going to be their number one receiver, but you're going to see them spread the ball around, which you're not going to see them have. You're not going to see. I think it's going to be better for Jalen that he can do that. He can dump the ball off to Saquon more. I think Saquon's going to be a bigger part of his passing game. A lot of that, as opposed to him feeling like I got to get the ball to AJ, as opposed to the offensive coordinator feeling the same way. Now that's gone. Now, Grant, he's a great player, but talent-wise, are they better? Probably not. But team-wise, are they better at that position? I might make the case they are.
Addition by subtraction wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, the pure talent, but there's different ways of doing things, and maybe they build up a deeper receiving core, as you said, and spread the football around. So it could be positive. The book again, Just Give Me a Chance to Fail. I'm gonna pop it up there. P. Damo, available really now, so they can go to Amazon, order it now. Forward by Vic Fangio. So that'll interest Eagles fans locally. But again, much bigger story than that. If you're a fan of the NFL, definitely pick it up. Definitely read it. Great to catch up. At P. Damo, make sure you follow Paul on the X platform. Keep up to date. You'll get to see where you can order the book there. Also, pauldamowich.substack.com. Still doing some stuff, still writing some stuff as well. It's always fun to catch up, and it's always fun talking to the Philadelphia Hall of Fame selectors. So there you got it. Shady McCoy, we're going to go thumbs up. And Pete Damo is going to make a great case and get you in the Hall of Fame. Thanks for stopping by, Damo. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, John. You take care.
And Zander Krause will pop back on, I believe. There he is.
J Mac, what's up, brother? Good interview there with Damowich. Always good to hear from him. It's been a little bit since we've talked to Damo, so pretty good interview there, and interesting hearing what his take on the modern Eagles is as well. The Eagles of today with AJ Brown. He was fed up with AJ Brown, Johnny Mac.
Well, I think a lot of people were. I don't think that's a unique. Certainly, there were a lot of Eagles fans that were. But yeah, I mean, he's everybody puts that caveat, and so did Damo. He's a great player. It's one of those things. I've said it. If there weren't other issues, the Eagles wouldn't have traded him. I mean, this is not an instance, and Howie says it all the time. We're not in the business of giving away great players. It just reached a point that, maybe it was impacting the quarterback too much, and it's harder to replace the quarterback than a wide receiver. Yeah, even a great wide receiver.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they prevail, Johnny Mac. That's going to be the interesting part about it is they struggled with a great player. Will they be better without him? I guess addition by subtraction is possible, but it feels like blind optimism to me. We will see, I guess, what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I am in the camp, and Damo mentioned it as well, and I think most people are in that camp that the offensive line stays healthy, they're going to be fine. I do believe that. So, everybody's hyper focused on the skill position players as usual. That's not unique to Philadelphia. That's everywhere. But all these teams that go far, they generally have one thing in common. They're either really good up front on one side of the ball, at least, and usually both sides of the ball. Still a trenches game. Maybe even more so now because you don't get to practice as much. You don't get to put on the pads as much. So if you find dominant big men on either side of the ball who are physical, you generally have a bigger advantage now than maybe ever before, because they're not easy to find anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think Damo gave some, not credit, but he said he liked what they've done with the group. I don't like it that much. I can't lie to you. I mean, I like Mekhi Lemon, but I don't want to get into the camp of over expecting from Mekhi Lemon in year one. You know, do I think Mekhi Lemon has a good career? I do. I think he's got a great talent, great skill set, great ability. He's undersized, but, you know, there's a lot of undersized receivers in today's game. And so we'll see. But, you know, in terms of the short term, which is this year itself, I don't think they've upgraded or improved or really done that good of a job, John.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think that's human nature. Like, people saw, like, even when people say, well, I think they're a lot better at wide receiver 3 than Jahan Dotson. I'm like, are they? You know, that's part of, they didn't use Jahan Dotson, but he was still a pretty gifted, and we'll see how he does in Atlanta. But even if you go before, you know, in Washington, you know, he was a disappointment as a first round pick, but you're talking about a guy who caught, you know, 50 balls before he got traded to the Eagles. Dontavian Wicks' high point is 39, you know, and I'm like, and he was basically, the Packers said, hey, we got 4 guys we like better than this guy, so let's get something for him. You know, but to Eagles fans, there's uncertainty.
Right.
Like, they haven't seen it yet. Whereas I can say without a doubt that Jahan Dotson's a better athlete. Without a doubt, Jahan Dotson has better hands. Can he be more productive because you do run a different offensive scheme? Maybe, but I got to see it first. And then to your point about Mekhi Lemon, you know, yeah, you have to be cautious with a rookie. Look at Devontae. Look at how gifted Devontae Smith is. Look at his numbers, you know, and act accordingly. You know, don't expect.
He was the number 1 that year too.
Yeah,
which though could have some negative effect. Like, maybe it helps Mekhi Lemon that he's not the number 1. You know, I used to always think, and I think many are of this thinking, A.J. Brown helped Devontae Smith, obviously, by drawing the double teams and drawing the coverage, you know, so that he's up for Devontae. Well, maybe there's a similar, you know, impact there for Mekhi Lemon.
Well, I think it'll be easier, than Devontae had it, no doubt. But he's also not, you know, the typical super athlete a first round pick would be. More of an inside slot player. You know, the comparisons were Amon-Ra St. Brown. Same thing was said about him, you know, and he turned into a big time difference maker. So it's not like you can't. I got to tell you, Damo made a point there about Kyle Shanahan offenses and no receivers catching 80 balls, but I'd be disappointed if Devontae didn't crack 80. You know, if he's healthy.
Devontae's got to crack 80.
Yeah.
Didn't he crack 80 last? I mean, how many catches did he have last year?
Oh, he's been over 80 a bunch of years. But it is a different
only 2 years. 1 year 95, 1 year 81.
All right.
And he had 68 and 24 and 77 and 25.
Well, the 68 year, he only played 13 games, so
right.
I mean, he would have been well over probably. 77 is very close in a disastrous season offensively.
I think Devontae Smith has to be a 100 catch guy this year, John.
Well, the Damo's point was they spread it around more, which they do.
Yeah, but that's not the game that Jalen Hurts plays, John.
Well, I know.
Jahan Dotson barely saw the ball.
That's my point. That is my point.
Yeah, well, I think your point is correct.
But I mean, maybe maybe Jalen Hurts can embrace this system and turn into a different style of quarterback. I still, I still question why you would want to do that, but
Well, look, if you take the theory that they do want to try and do that, can you, John? You've watched a lot of football in your life, certainly, a lot more than I have. Can you point me to an example where this has happened successfully for?
Certainly not with a quarterback of this stature who's won at a high level, because why would you? Again, why would you? Like one of the pushback I give a lot of people who say you have to evolve, you have to evolve. Evolve doesn't mean change. You saw significant involvement from his rookie season when he only played 4 games to 2022, 2023, 2024. People remember when Kelsey left, there was the whole narrative of he's got more autonomy and he's handling projections more. There was constant involvement. Became, at one point it became a better processor, and maybe that reverted a little bit because of the risk-averse nature over the past couple of years. But there was involvement in his game. You can evolve within your style of play. Tom Brady just got better in his style of play with more experience and quicker processing and understanding more. There was constant involvement. I think people think, the thesaurus says change when you look up evolve. That's not what it means. And I think too many assume, well, you have to evolve. You can't stay the same. Yeah. It doesn't mean become a different style of player.
All right.
Well, at least successfully. Development is a better word. Grow. At least involved in the sports. Because to your point, how many people just drop everything and change styles as quarterbacks in year 7? Which ultimately, and I keep going back to that, I don't think that's going to happen ultimately. Why would it?
It feels like it applies to more than just football too. It's like, we all have tendencies as John McMullen is not going to become a hot take artist all of a sudden. Like I guess it's not the perfect example. I'm just saying, it feels as though like they're it's an uphill battle. We'll see what ends up happening with it, Johnny Mac. It's going to be interesting. Here in hour number 2, we're going to talk to Jeff Kerr. I'm looking forward to talking to Jeff when he joins us in. Will there be a ripping of him at the All-Star game? Maybe not. We'll save that for off the air. I don't know. I'll have to see how Johnny Mac handles that. But we will get to the top 25 list. John, who was number 7 on your guys' top 25 list?
Oh, good. You caught me off guard. I got to get the list up.
Well, we did 8 yesterday, right? 8
yeah.
With my lot, which was freaking egregious.
Number 7 is guy we were just talking about, Devontae Smith. Number 7.
Damn.
Number 7.
Where did you have him? And then give me where everybody else had him.
I had him at number 6. The aforementioned Jeff Kerr had him at number 8. Ed Kratz was the high water mark at number 5. Number 5.
So 5, 6, and 8.
Yes.
And he falls in at number 7. So there you go. Devontae Smith, number 7. Geez, I was thinking Devontae would be a little higher, but I guess with some of the offensive linemen, with Carter and with Cooper.
Well, here's the names, and I'll do it correctly in alphabetical order. Left, Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Lane Johnson, Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fair ranking then. I don't know that I would have Devontae above. I guess maybe you could argue Devontae over somebody like a Cooper, but I wouldn't at this point. Not yet. I mean, I think Devontae's every bit the talent level, but Cooper DeJean's been fucking lights out 2 years.
Yep. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, I had him at 6, so I had him above one of those guys. Actually, 2 of those guys as I'm looking at my list. But
do you think they're going to switch? Do you think Cooper DeJean's going to become a full-time safety?
Not this year. Maybe
no, not this year. Just
potentially.
Several years.
Potentially. I think, especially after Vic retires. Yeah, I think he will. Yeah, I think ultimately he will. But I think he'll become more of a, like we were talking about yesterday, a Kyle Hamilton, Derwin James, Buda Baker like safety who plays different spots.
Right.
Maybe safety on one play, maybe slot, maybe
I could see Derwin. Derwin seems like a good
maybe linebacker. So
I'll tell you what, he's getting. I'm not sure if you've seen some of these pictures of Cooper DeJean that I saw somebody who was working out with Saquon or something on my X feed.
Yeah, he's jacked.
He's getting big. Yeah, he's getting a lot bigger.
I'll tell you, these players, man, when they don't have anything else to do, and their job is basically to stay in shape, the ones who do embrace it. I talk about it all the time. The transition between, I always talk about TJ Edwards from the time he got here to the time he left is just astonishing.
Yeah. I remember you talking about that on this show.
N'Kobe, same thing. Devontae. Devontae's a brick shithouse now. Still got the skinny legs, but never gains weight, but it's distributed better. Cooper's going in that same category. But yeah, a lot of guys remake their body. And that's why, I laugh when so many draft people who, never step in the building afterwards say that these guys change. These guys develop. These guys get better or worse. I always say you don't draft a good player. It's just the start of it. You draft somebody with good talent, and then, how does it develop as you go down the road? But yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys are offensive line is big as well because, the old man strength in the NFL versus the rookie strength. I always loved when Kelsey would talk about Linval Joseph, how strong he was. And, there was a defensive tackle named Justin Smith for longtime fans who was great with Cincinnati and then San Francisco. Just a monster. I mean, so big, so strong, and would just throw people around. There's a lot of the trenches, those guys. Lane Johnson, think about him. He was a junior college quarterback. Look at him now.
That's crazy. That's crazy that he was. All right, John, people are saying that Cooper DeJean's girlfriend, I guess it's the Dallas cheerleader.
Yeah, she's a Cowboys cheerleader.
She put out like a congratulations on the position change. I don't know. I don't know what the hell that means, but I assume he talks.
They're talking about safety. People are. This is all public. He's playing safety in the base. That's all.
That's it, right?
That's it. I'm presume that the Cowboy, and maybe I'm wrong, but his girlfriend probably isn't getting into the mechanics of the X's and O's. I mean,
what percentage will you be in the slot?
Yeah. he's gonna play in the slot as much as he played in the slot last year. Same amount. He's just playing a different. He's just playing a different position when he's not in the slot. That's where the change is.
All right, fair enough. Here's a good comment from a chatter. What's up, Rasputin? He says this: when a mobile quarterback stops running with volume and his primary target is gone, is a scheme change not a natural progression? ? I think that's a fair thought process. No.
Well, I mean, you could look at Donovan, and his, if he wants that, sure, you got to make some, my take is it doesn't have to be. Now, again, if for whatever reason they deem that necessary, like we don't fully know. Like what I just said about Cooper, I know we don't fully know as reporters, like who is responsible for the downtick in the running game from a volume standpoint. Whether that was Jalen, whether that was the team, or whether that was a combination of both, which is probably the real answer, but. It doesn't have to be. He's only 27 years old. He'll be 28 early in training camp. You've seen when he does get outside, he still can make impactful runs. Now he gives himself up way more than he used to. So if you're going into it with the mentality that he can't run it anymore for whatever reason, yeah, then you have to change to a certain degree. But that also doesn't mean you have to make a drastic change and turn him into a different player. And I would also argue if that's the case and it's completely off the board, again, why would it be? But if it is, then you should be looking for a different quarterback if you want to run the scheme.
Well, that's a tough way to look at it, but I hear you. I mean, I get what you're saying. I get why you're saying it, but obviously.
And I don't believe that's true, by the way, because he can still run. People can argue he's not as dynamic as he once was, and maybe that's the case. But he can still run.
Yeah, but didn't the called runs though drop like half last year? Went from like 3.4.
Yeah, but that was purposeful.
Well, I mean, isn't that part of the evaluation then?
Well,
are you expecting an uptick from that then?
Well, there should be. Again,
not from under center, right?
No, and that's part of my problem. But they're part of the evaluation should be, why did we take this away from this guy? And again, if it's totally Jalen centric and he doesn't want to run anymore, well then you got a problem. But if it's like we want to keep him healthier to extend the shelf life kind of bullshit, the ego's got to self-correct. He's not the same player without that part of it. And yeah, I mean, it's fine to go under center more, but you got to keep some of the gun stuff in the offense so you can stress the defense with the dual threat ability of the quarterback.
Fair enough. All right, here's S. Blunt. S. Blunt, I'm not sure if I said that right. Appreciate you being here. He's a listener, but John is normally web work, so he's on vacation right now, and he says, I'm actually able to comment while you're live. I have a question. Do you believe the unreported concussions like the Tampa and Giants game for Jalen Hurts has changed his running impact?
I'm not aware of any unreported concussions. How do we know if they're concussions if they're unreported?
I guess he's just referring to hits to the head where Jalen looked a little bit delirious. I do remember that one time that happened. He got up and he looked like he was in no man's land.
I mean,
you get it, John. It's football. Not they want to play. So not everything is.
No, I just mean
they play through
I
stuff.
just
you talk about that all the time.
Yeah, watch quarterback, man.
Right.
Everybody they're following this year is hurt, and you see some of the stuff they play through, AC joints. But I mean, people said that about Carson, and he did have a down tick after that Seattle concussion. I mean, it could be any hard hit that could make. I find it very hard to believe that Jalen Hurts is, for a lack of a better term, afraid to run the ball. I don't believe that. Is there some Donovan-esque mentality in him that says, I want to prove to these assholes that I can throw the ball? Maybe. I'd buy that more than I just said, they're very strict with concussions to the point where I would lean towards the other side now that, it's going to be reported if somebody has a concussion, but that's all I meant about that.
He has changed as a runner stylistically too. Like he was really aggressive with it, and even at times almost made you not wince, but like, ooh, don't take those hits. Last year it was like, he slid behind the line of scrimmage, like, a lot.
Well, I always thought he was very actually smart about not taking hits, always. But yeah, he's definitely not as explosive as he was, which is, just a natural evolution of a 22, 23-year-old into a 28-year-old. He's definitely lost a little bit. But again, you don't need 2021 when he was essentially a rookie starter, his second year, and he ran for 784 and almost 6 yards a carry. You don't need that. But if you look at as late as 2024, he's 630. And it dropped all the way up to 421. And, again, the drop off was more about because he averaged 4.2 in 2024. And remember, those numbers are limited by the tush push. They would be better. Down to 4.0, again, limited by in the tush push era. They would be better. So it wasn't a huge drop off from a yards per carry range. It was a huge drop off in attempts, which again is the big mystery. Is that Jalen? Is that the team? Is it both? But whatever the answer,
able to uncover anything on that answer. That's a tough one to gauge.
Yeah, well, that's my thought from listening to them both is it's a combination. They both want to scale it down, and hopefully, to your point about the evaluation and the self-scout, hopefully they come, no, we need this in the game. Hopefully. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but if you're self-scouting this team and this player, you got to say to yourself, no, he's still got gas in the tank as a runner, and we have to put that threat back into the offense, in my opinion. But if he doesn't want to do it, there's not much you can do.
Right.
And maybe that's why they are changing to what they're changing, but that still doesn't make sense to me, because I would still like, all right, well, let's let them figure it out. I'm still going to have them in the gun.
Yeah, right.
At least have the threat. And if they figure it out, they figure it out. And, but you can tick up with a few more snaps under center, but, if it were 5 to 10 last year, make it 15 to 20. Don't make it 50. But I think they're going to make it 50. But who knows? There's so much uncertainty with this offense. On one hand, Nick's saying, there's a lot of good shit we've done. We're not going to take that. We're going to continue to do some of that. Sean Mannion said we're going to blend it. Maybe they're telling the truth. Maybe it is going to be blended.
Well, we'll see how blended it is and what it looks like this year. We got the great Jeff Kerr in the green room. Looking forward to talking to Jeff Kerr. It feels weird on Birds 365 when we don't talk to our guy on a Monday. He joins us right now here on Birds 365. There's Jeff Kerr. Jeff, welcome to the show, my friend. Make sure you guys follow him at Jeff Kerr, PHL. Read all his work at si.com/NFL/Eagles with Johnny Mack. Jeff, how you doing on this Football Friday, my friend?
We're slowly getting there. This is probably, content-wise, this is probably the slowest week of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're knocking off the days, knocking them off. It's getting here as quickly as possible. Are you all-star out yet? That was a big week, big all-star festivities.
I enjoyed the all-star vacation. I'll just say that. I didn't cover the game. I took my dad, he's 70 years old, probably last all-star game he'll go to. So we went to basically
not the last all-star game, the last all-star game personally. Like, he's doing fine, right? Don't
yeah, he's doing, he's 70, right?
Yeah.
Assuming this is,
yeah.
Unless the cyborgs take over.
It's the last time it'll probably be in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I don't even know we'll have an all-star game in 30 years. They're already kind of fading out.
Well, the game itself, everything before the game seemed awesome from the city standpoint. Again, similar to the World Cup, I think Philadelphia came across very well. The home run derby was fun. The crowd, the booing everything that moved and cheering for the Phillies. I think everybody enjoyed that. The game itself, I think it's a microcosm of modern baseball. I go, this is what you got 1,000 pitchers and everybody strikes out. That's modern baseball. How freaking boring was that freaking game, Jeff?
Oh, my dad and I were laughing like how boring it was. And he goes, this is an all-star team? Like, they don't know how they hit singles? I'm like, nope, they don't.
It's unbelievable. Like, why? This has happened in all sports. I talk about it all the time. I'm the get off my lawn guy. 3-point shot and basketball. Baseball, you got launch angle and strikeouts or home runs. Football,
you throw it all the time.
Yeah, football, you got all the dumbing down to the offenses and everybody running the same shit. Why? What? But you have some innovative people still in football. Why does that not exist in baseball? Literally everybody does it the same way. Where's that guy?
I feel like pitching has elevated. I don't think hitting has.
Well, yeah, pitching has elevated because you get 5 guys who can throw 103 and tell them you only got to go. You can't throw 103 if you have to pitch 7 innings, Jeff.
No.
They tell these guys just go hell or high water for as long as you can go, and then the next one comes in.
And you know what? The voters don't help the cause because, like, the year Zach Wheeler show won the Cy Young, 2021, he put 70 more innings than Corbin Burns, and they gave it to Burns. I'm like, well, so they clearly don't care about innings pitched anymore.
Yeah. Whomever decides to go, like, I get a kick out of the Billy Bean and the Moneyball stuff. Billy Bean was ahead of the curve.
He was.
He was the only one doing it. Now, when everybody does it, it's the same fucking shit. It's my same argument with the Eagles. Now they're following Kyle Shanahan like everybody else.
When they're winning their own way, right? You know, like Billy Bean won his own way. That's why
exactly.
For people who read the book or saw the movie, like, Billy Bean was going to be the GM of the Boston Red Sox. Like, that's what they said. Look, you do your philosophy, but now you're going to have money to do it. You don't have the money in Oakland. That's why you're winning. But if we get those players you want and actually outbid people for them. That's what happened with the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, even somewhat with the Yankees. But it's more of what Boston did with Epstein than anything else. But yeah, you're right, John. Why would the Eagles want to copy everybody? I don't understand that.
I don't understand it. Other than, I'm holding out a little bit of, I don't want to call it hope because ultimately I don't care, but I'm holding out a little bit that Nick is just playing politics and he's going to say, yeah, I'll play the part when I got to play the part in the off season. And when the regular season starts, I'm going to try to go win football games.
And then when the team has 0 total yards in the second quarter of the fourth game of the season.
Well, the hope is that it gets a little bit better and you don't have those lulls, but I think from the standpoint of the actual style of the offense, I think it's going to be a little bit more similar than people realize. But that's just a hunch. That's what Parks Frazier said as well. So Parks, don't dick me over, buddy.
You know what? I still don't. There are a lot of things this week that I know people hate this season. I still don't get how Jalen Hurts is 17th on the list.
17th.
17th.
I can tell you.
Oh, the league don't.
Nobody reads the definition of the list.
Yeah.
And I published it for everybody.
It's 2025 season. That's what it's based off of.
It's a snapshot. And Fowler explains it's not about what he did. It's not about 5 years. He's not talking about Jalen Hurts. He's talking about everybody. He's not about the 5 years prior. It's not about projection 5 years in the future. The goal of the exercise is who is the best players entering the 2026 season. Now, I would have had Jalen under that definition, probably 13, 14-ish. But
I'd have him higher than where he was. Yeah. I'd have him higher.
Not that far off.
I wish they would do this with journalists, by the way. Instead of paying journalists based on what they did X amount of years ago.
Well, it's everything in life, and it's hard. Our own list, which, by the way, I ripped, full disclosure, I ripped you and Ed for Jordan Mailata.
I mean, that's egregious. The Jordan Mailata ranking is egregious.
It is what it is. It's my opinion. You guys are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
It sucks.
I was cracking up when John said it. I think it was during the All-Star game when you said that.
Yeah, I was writing the story and I'm like, what are these fucking guys doing? So yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's it's hard to, because I had two particular players lower than you guys because they had shitty seasons last year by their standard.
They did.
But it's tough it's human nature to say, well, this guy's great, but he wasn't great last year. So it is human nature to a certain extent.
But even when I did my top 25, I'm like, why do I have Mulata so low? And I'm like, well, can I really put him above these guys right now?
Well, 9, yeah. You and Ed had him at 9. There's no fucking way there's 8 better players on
You
this
have him
team.
at what, 4?
4.
Was it 4? Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
I mean,
today's is coming out at noon.
Is it? I already said it. I already.
That's all right. That's all right. You can say it.
They've been coming out earlier in the morning, so I thought it was out already. I didn't even go.
No, I don't care. I wanted to try a little social experiment today because this is like the slowest week of the year, and
yeah, okay.
I'm tapped out for this week, honestly.
Yeah, well, we got you. We got you at the tail end.
But there's 6 players left, and
you can probably guess the 6 at this point.
Well, we know the 6 names that haven't been read, but where they'll fall, I don't know. And Jeff, I think it would be easier, but you guys, you and Ed are tough to predict. You know, I know Johnny Mac now, so I can kind of have a sense of where John's going with me. I mean, your ranking of my lotto was freaking horrible. Has me wondering where the rest of the guys are.
It's interesting. Well, part of it's offensive line too, because even if you look in 2024, so the Super Bowl season, PFF created Jordan Mailata as the best player in football. In football, not best tackle, not best offensive lineman, best player in football. Now,
can someone explain this? How Jordan Mailata has never made a Pro Bowl?
Well, yeah, that's egregious as well. There's a lot of I'm convinced that, not that he's not a great player, because he is, and I just happen to be watching, because quarterback on Netflix, one of the quarterbacks they follow is Baker Mayfield, who's an interesting cat.
That's where the Quinyon Mitchell video came out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Yeah, Baker's a big trash talker.
So is Quinyon.
So, there's not a lot, but there's a decent amount of Tristan Wirfs. He's a very good player. But man, I mean, all right, is he better than Jordan Mailata?
I really do think it's reputation based.
It is reputation based.
It's on the other side. Lane Johnson's on the other side. So everybody's like, oh, we can't put both tackles on there.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that Jordan finished ahead of Lane on Fowler's list. So the league executives are starting to realize this guy's fucking good.
Yes. And I had him 9th, 8th, wherever I had him. I don't even remember where I had him. I have to double check that.
By the way, not that they're perfect, but PFF rankings of Jordan Mailata since he started to play: 2021 number 3, 2022 number 9. This is in the entire league, not amongst the Eagles. 2023 3rd, 2024, as I said, 1st in all of football. 2025 6th. Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, I'll tell you what. After looking at my top 25 again, there's definitely at least 1 or 2 people I'd have over.
Oh, I'm already disgusted.
Behind
I'm already disgusted. I should have put Grenard higher than I did.
I should have too, honestly. I was surprised I had him as low as I did, because I think Grenard's really good.
He is.
Better than Jalen Phillips.
And to your point of, yeah, I think he is better. I think Jalen's a good player, but I think Grenard's a little bit better.
He's better and cheaper. It's always a good thing.
Yeah. And to Jordan, he hasn't made a Pro Bowl, but he has been second team All Pro, so that helps.
You know what we should do with the top 20? Like, we should still do our top 25, but next year we should do the top 25 most overrated Eagles. Can you imagine the vitriol we get?
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you mine. I already think
25's a lot.
Well,
maybe
we could do
top
10.
10.
Yeah,
maybe
we could
top
do 10.
Because 25, it's, one of my favorite things of doing this exercise is it tells you how good the team is. And that's why I say they're still talented.
Yeah.
They're still one of the best 5 rosters.
Well, the league still thinks they're talented.
Yeah. But it was much tougher to get to 25 with good players, like guys that you know are good, than it typically has been over the past 2-3 years.
That was my takeaway from the whole exercise was I had a lot of trouble after 20. A lot of trouble. Like, do I really want to put this guy here?
For me, it was probably, let's see, 21 was the cutoff. I had Makuba at 21, and he's a good player, a good young player. And then it was like, all right, now I got to start talking about the punter.
That's all I was at. You know, John, you had you had the article of the week, and I mentioned it when I mentioned potential free agents Eagles could bring in to spice things up. They didn't bring in any competition for Jake Elliott, which I am kind of shocked about.
Oh, I'm not shocked. I'm pissed. I mean, that's the fan in me is pissed, Jeff. How does your kicker bottom the league for 2 years in a row, and you sit there? Kickers are and to me, and I don't know if I'm wrong on this, it feels as though kickers are getting even more important in today's game. I watch the Cowboys. They got to get to the 50-yard line, and they can get points on the board. Now, maybe they're an extreme example because of Brandon Aubrey, but
it's still big at the end of a half, right?
Exactly,
it's like, okay,
right.
complete a pass play, and boom.
I get 20 yards with the new kickoff rule, 15 yards, and I'm damn near in kick range.
It's like he's grandfathered in. Oh, he made 2 40-yard kicks in Super Bowl 52 in a dome. So we got to keep him.
Well, he is grandfathered. That's one of Howie's weaknesses. He's very loyal. He admits it too. He
loyal
knows
to a fault, and I don't blame him for it. Like but I hate to break it to people. Super Bowl 52 is 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Well, he's been great in the playoffs still today. I think he's 27 of 28 in the playoffs, the field goals.
Was the only kick he missed that kick in the snow game? That was extra point, right?
Yeah, he missed a couple extra points, but field goals, I think I'll look it up real quick. I think he's
speaking of extra points. Remember, he did miss an extra point in the playoff game, and they were down by 4 at the end. Now, I'm not one of those people that likes to play. Well, if you hit the extra point in quarter number 1, then they would have only been down by 3.
Well, no, it matters. You shouldn't be missing extra points.
This is why I love.
Maybe 4 verts hurts the name that has come out since that botched last play. Maybe that's just a simple 40-yard chip shot for Jake Elliott.
I can't wait till Sean Mannion runs 4 birds.
I can't wait. I can't hear.
These morons who
and a hitch route, right?
It's a staple of every NFL offense.
You know what? I still love what, and look, I still talk to a lot of high school coaches, a lot of prominent high school coaches, by the way. They love these film people because they go, they see the after effect. And but it's the whole play happens before that, right? The whole concept of it, though, they're like, but they're not watching the left tackle, or they're not watching the guard, or they're not watching where someone missed here, or they don't know what they're seeing. And that's why they laugh because let's just go on Twitter and put on our agenda and 4 verts.
4 birds. Yeah, the play right before it was 4 birds, and it should have worked.
Back to the point, if Jake Elliott hits the extra point earlier in the game,
that's what I love. They're loyal to Jake Elliott, but you're not loyal to Jalen Carter, who literally won you a Super Bowl.
Wait, Jeff.
We need him to be consistently dominant.
Well, Jeff, all right. Would you pay him $36 million per year?
Yes, I would pay him. I don't care.
Wow. Okay. I respect the belief, but it is fair to say he's had 1 great year of 3. Is that?
And I agree with that. Like I thought he had a disappointing year last year, but you got to bank on that talent.
I don't disagree with that part of it, but I also don't have a problem with the Eagles.
But the Eagles have some time. All they're doing is with Jordan Davis. He's under contract through 2027. He had a bad year. They want to see if he's healthy. It makes some sense.
But the thing is,
it hasn't been their typical mode of operation.
Well, not with guys they don't have questions with. Again,
they did have questions with Jordan Davis last year.
Yeah, they did the same exact thing with Jordan Davis, and it was fine.
That's fair. Yep.
Yeah.
And they paid him. Now they're going to have to pay him more. They're going to have to pay the Jerry Jones tax.
Yeah.
If
And
he
that's
delivers.
the issue. That's why I think I pay him now. Just say, hey, because that's going to be a bargain in 2 years.
What's the number one problem on Carter? Is it A, production, B, immaturity, whatever, off the field stuff, or C, health?
I think it's A and C.
I think it's D, consistency.
Consistency. Yeah, consistently productive. That's why I put that out there. It's
I
consistently
think the Fowler quote he got from the one coordinator was, the guy is lights out for 10 plays and the other 50 is like getting pushed around by average players.
Right.
Do you think that's a conditioning thing?
No, he played.
I think C is a big one. I mean, the shoulders. Didn't he miss a game last year?
Well, the health is he missed a month. Yeah, he missed a month.
And remember, he couldn't lift weights last year.
He missed like a game for the heel or something. I don't know if that mattered or what, if that was persistent. But I mean, he just hasn't stayed healthy.
He literally could not lift weights last season.
And that's a problem when you're playing football.
Yeah.
You gotta lift.
Yeah. And certainly when you're a big, powerful guy.
When you're on the
and darn, look at that Chicago. Well, don't look at that Chicago game. It is like
that was the bad one. That was really...
it is like a horror film for the defensive front.
They got bullied by that offensive line. I remember watching that game live, I'm like, this offensive line's a lot better in Chicago, but they're not this good.
Drew Dahlman beat the crap out of Jalen Carter in that game. I think it was Drew Dahlman.
Yeah. It's a shame Drew Dahlman's retired.
That game was Darnell Wright's coming out party.
Oh, that's right. Darnell Wright had a huge one.
John and I have been high on Darnell Wright for a couple of years.
I mean, he was caving in the freaking line play after play. Caving it in.
It almost felt like, obviously it's not the case, but it felt like they didn't want to be there. Like, it was weird. Just a weird game for them.
Yeah, sometimes you have those games, but
yeah, I think that was the game that told me this team is not winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, they got.
Which I kind of knew that anyway.
Well, typically, the Eagles have been, I think, a very physical team during the Nick Sirianni era because of the offensive and defensive fronts, and they got big physical guys, and when they get out physical, it sets off alarms because it doesn't happen that much.
Do you think so many people just wait because they still have PTSD from 2023? They're just waiting for the collapse.
I don't know. They won the Super Bowl. If they do, that's stupid.
I know, but last year they're like, this team's going to collapse, and they won 3 in a row in December.
Well, I think last year it was because the offense was never good, Jeff.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, even when they were winning games, we're like, all right, well, the offense is horrible. And, and I remember arguing with people because I was saying it on the show, and everyone's like, we keep winning, Zander. Why do you keep complaining? But, eventually the offense.
Well, you were looking at the long term. I look at week to week. So, that was a fair complaint, right? So, that's all I said. Like, when I was arguing with people, I'm like, look, I know you're looking at January. I'm just looking at week 15 at this point. But the Chargers game really had the red flags because that was a winnable game.
Oh, it's funny because Jalen Hurts had 6 interceptions and 4 of them were in that game.
That's what I mean. That game to me was even an outlier for the most part. It
was weird too. Like Jalen ended up with what 25 touchdowns and 6 picks and 4.
Yeah,
it's like John said, 4 were in the same game. That's nuts.
So what he play? He played 16.
16. He ended up playing. Yeah.
So in 15 games, he had 2 picks.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well. It is, but we talk about it all the time. It's phenomenal. It's not pretty good. It's phenomenal. But
I do wonder, guys, if the risk-averse approach, and I'm talking individually here for Jalen, not team-wise. Team-wise, it's been obviously a net positive. Individually for Jalen Hurts, has the risk-averse, has that been more of a net negative than a net positive for him and his development as a quarterback in the NFL?
I think it can hinder your development, but I think if you're already ingrained, like, look, I care about winning, and the best way to win is not turn the football over, which has withstood the test of time.
Well, here's the thing, because somebody at Yahoo, I don't know, wrote this, and I thought it was interesting. Because, the risk averse look, it's no doubt from a team perspective, it's been a success. You could argue it hasn't been a success for Jalen
let
Hurts.
other teams beat themselves.
Yeah.
We won't do it.
Brought up the training camp stuff. And I only saw this because Elliot, and I give Elliot all the credit in the world. I love Elliot, training camp, but I'll also tell him to his face, and I'll tell him this week. Training camp stats are stupid. I love you, but they're stupid.
Preseason set. Well, you know what? People who keep track of practice stats, people who don't actually practice.
But I'll tell you this. Everybody around the country has somebody who does it now. So Elliot deserves credit.
So he was the trendsetter. So I give him credit.
He was the trendsetter, so he deserves credit for that. However,
again,
is it
when I'm practicing bowling, do you think I know what my score is, or do you think I give a shit?
Well, that's the point. That's what they were writing about. Is it affecting the players? In other words, in spring training, and this is ironic because in spring training, pitchers, a lot of times they work on a new pitch and they try to develop a new pitch to add. Well, in the old days, at least, when you had
they still
relevant
do that.
Starting pitchers who would have to go 7-8 innings. And they would get rocked in spring training because they're trying to throw this pitch they don't normally throw, and they're not comfortable with it yet, and they're trying, and maybe they drop it when they get to the regular season, or maybe they add it and they get better at it. That's the goal of practice. You're trying to get better. And to have stats in baseball, nobody gave a shit. But it seems like, maybe some of these guys, Jalen Hurts, are paying attention. A couple of years ago, he didn't throw a pick in the entire training camp, and Elliott declared it a record. And
he probably has that record.
And I don't know if that's a good thing to not throw an interception.
Well, was it? I think Spike actually pointed that out. Like this is why I enjoy Spike Eskin at times, because Kyle Shanahan said something about he wants his quarterbacks throwing interceptions at camp because you learn stuff.
Well, that was the
Spike trolled Elliott with it. I'm like, all right, Spike.
Somebody at Yahoo wrote about it. Oh, that's exactly. You should be stretching things in practice. Quarterbacks should be, can I make this throw? Can I fit this in? That's what they should be doing in practice.
I mean, I had this, look, I do it in bowling right now. I struggle to get strikes on Wednesday. I'm going to the lab today, and I'm like, all right, what am I doing wrong?
So are you in a league, Jeff? What do you do? Are you in a league?
I'm in 3 leagues, but only one in the summer. And I don't care while I score. It's more of, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try. Last week, I just put out, I got a ball out I haven't used in 2 years. I'm like, I'm just going to throw it, see what happens. I would never do that in an actual league or a tournament.
So the ball matters in bowling.
It does matter. It does matter. I hate to admit it matters, but it does.
No,
Again, bowling has changed just like everything else has changed. It's all about rev rate. It's all about.
Oh no, analytics is
taking over, man. It's taking over.
No. We got to get these nerds out of everything, man. We got to get it. Now, there's a lot of good with analytics, but it can't be. You can't turn it into a religion. There's a lot of good information.
It's a resource. It's a resource. A lot more.
Yes.
What I think hurts me with analytics is I feel like now, and I'm a stat guy. I'll even say they make up a stat for everything. They really do to prove a point. And it's like, okay, but explain this to me like I'm 5. My dad always says that. WRC plus, right? My dad goes, can you explain that to me? You cover baseball. My dad coached baseball. He's a pitch clock operator in baseball. Doesn't know what it is. That's a problem.
There's a famous quote. I think Mark Twain gets credit for it, but he didn't really say it. But anyway, there's 3 kinds of lies, damn lies, and statistics. Because you can take a statistic and go in a million different directions.
It's when I wrote about Hurts he is successful across the middle. Problem is he just doesn't do it.
Yeah. So
That's what everybody did.
as an example, let's use that stat to prove what bullshit it is. A, it's a small sample size. B, he doesn't do it. Tom Brady's been retired for how many years and throws
He's
the
been
ball
retired
more
since
over-
23, and he still has more. Caleb Williams has more passes thrown over the middle than Jalen Hurts does.
Then opposing defenses know he doesn't throw the ball over the middle of the field. So what do? They go heavy emphasis outside the numbers. If he starts throwing it in the middle of the field, they'll change their approach and make it more difficult. There's so much context in football. With Zander and I talk about it all the time. You can't just cherry pick statistics, especially in football. You can do it a lot in baseball, because it is a heavily statistical game.
Well, like I was telling people about Brandon Marsh. I'm like, you guys know Brandon Marsh is hitting like 130. So, I like how you picked that day. I'm like, no, I'm just pointing out a point. He hasn't really hit for a month. No, you just picked June 15th at random. No, I didn't. It's July 15th. So,
yeah, I mean, and baseball it's pitcher versus batter. I mean, that's what it is.
John, you would love it. You would have loved watching the All-Star game. My dad and I were laughing that when Bryce was up, when he made his one at bat, and they put like an elevated shift on, and I look at my dad. I said, you know, it'd be awesome. This game would make it for me. It's the most boring game of all time. If he just bunted, and got on, I would love that.
They should have got somebody on. They don't think that way.
No, they all. It was Bryce had the mentality. I'm gonna head over the fence. They all do. It's not
everybody does.
Yeah,
I like that you go. I like that you go with your dad, Jeff. That's pretty cool.
No, him and I are like old school baseball. Like I there's a lot of like new school stuff. Oh, you mean like overall? Yeah, but yeah. But like,
no, I just mean in general. I mean, it's cool that you and your dad have a bond over stuff like. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah,
like you go with your dad. Yeah.
Well, when we got our season tickets to the Phillies, this is like it's been over 20 years. I mean, we just did just to go on Sundays, and we just kept it. Like, even though like he doesn't go as much as he used to, he still likes going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
how was the? I'm always interested in like the production of things, Jeff. Like, you know, I don't know why I like that stuff. I just do.
Oh, like the whole Sandlot stuff.
How did Philly do with just how did Philly do with everything, the imaging, all the stuff?
Oh, Philly did an amazing job with.
Was it a cool atmosphere?
Yeah, I almost pulled an Ellie, and I'm like, see, this is why we need a Super Bowl in Philly, because
I'm
they
sure
would do something like that.
Yeah, it makes sense though why you would think of that.
Yeah, like it's like Philadelphia's like, oh, we got Independence Hall. Let's have the red carpet show there. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see. Like, Sissonbank Park, you walked in, it felt like an all-star game. Like, it's the pageantry of it all. Like, ever since, and you got to give credit to the Phillies, too, because they played a big role in this. Like, from opening day on, they're like, this is a special season for us. We're going to have Phil and Phyllis here. We're going to have the Colonials here. Or, like, they did the President's Race during the game in the fourth inning. Everybody's like, why are the presidents here? Why are the Washington Nationals presidents here? Oh, here's why. Because we're going to get the Colonial Fanatic involved. Like, they found a way to mix it in with Major League Baseball. Like the Sandlot thing, no one saw that coming. They just turned the lights off, and then, like, we see the Sandlot video on the big screen. And we're like, oh, what are they going to do here? And then all of a sudden you see these kids come out. And you see, like, Mike Trout playing catch with them. And I'm not even watching it because they just have fireworks going on for, like, 2 minutes. It was insane.
Now, Philadelphia has done a great job with the World Cup and the All-Star.
They did a really good job with the World Cup.
Yeah, for people
maybe
that
it'll
think,
get Larry fired up for his new stadium, you know.
Oh yeah, he can't wait for this.
Yeah.
I mean, Philadelphia should have a Super Bowl at some point.
I agree.
No, they deserve one.
I think it's, and I don't know if I'm biased. I think it's one of the best sports cities in the country, if not the best.
Oh, I rip fans all the time because they're a little bit too passionate, but
they're but the passionate part of it.
They are.
Yeah, I agree, Joe.
They are number one on a passion scale, and I don't think number two is close.
Honestly, I think a lot of people from Philadelphia and from the suburbs of Philly, they should be proud. They really should.
I mean, you talk about major events. Like, nobody delivers like Philadelphia. Nobody delivered like Philadelphia in the World Cup. You know, the every day with the Lemon Hill stuff, and
it was like, we got it. This is what we're gonna do with it. This is why you should give us big events for everything.
The All-Star game, they're cheering and the home run derby. Everybody's having fun. They're booing everybody who's not wearing a Philly.
Dan Gelson and I were cracking up in the concourse on Tuesday night. We're like, what is everybody booing about? Mr. and Mrs. Met walked by.
Mr.
And they were booing them.
When WrestleMania was here, you got all these nerds walking around town with their championship belts. This town is freaking crazy.
I want to see this city have a national championship in college football. Oh, by the way, that's another thing we forget when you get a dome stadium. I'm surprised Elliot's never pointed this out.
Final Four as well.
Yeah, the Final Four. I'd be all for that. I'm a nut when it comes to that stuff. I'll be there.
So you're in Philadelphia's. If they get a dome, Philadelphia's in the equation. We'll get a Super Bowl. Yeah. We'll get a Final Four.
Yeah,
we'll get another WrestleMania. We'll get, because WrestleMania is not coming back because it was so cold. Not because it was a massive success, but it was.
But it was cold. And look, they haven't gone to a cold weather city since.
They'll get all this shit.
Yeah, and it'll be awesome. Like that's why these dome stadiums are coming. It's not because it's a dome stadium. It's because you could do something other than play football in it.
Yeah.
I love the link, but the link is aging and fast.
But at the same time, I get it. If people don't want to get taxed to death, so you got to figure something out. You can't just, take the public from the public coffers all the time. So Jeffrey's fair. He'll get involved. John,
what do you think? Do you think they'll put the practice facility with the stadium? Do you think that's like part of the plan?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I don't know how you do that
in Jefferson Health, but
yeah. I don't know how you do that. You might have to go to the suburbs to do that, but I wouldn't mind that. I know other people would be.
I would love the Eagles facility to be in King of Prussia, just so you.
Well, I don't want that, but I don't want that. That's too far. That's too far.
If I can avoid I-76, man, what a gold mine that would be.
That's too far. That's too far. King of Prussia.
I can resonate with that, Jeff.
Yeah. We were joking about the other day.
And 95. When you get a little down 95, it's not so bad. But when you get close to the city and you're on 95,
it's bad.
Oh my gosh, 95.
Oh my god. You know what? I do have to give Philly credit for this, because I always say I hate when Philly has big events because traffic has not been as bad as I thought. Maybe because I had the worst expectations for traffic. I keep telling people my hell is literally I'm stuck in a time loop on 76.
Well, you know what helps?
I can't get out of the car.
You know what helps? When people can't afford to park, so they have to take Sept.
It also helps though when you know your way around the city. Like when you know the way, you can really scoot some traffic.
Yeah. Trust, I've learned so many ways of how to do it.
If you guys should know by now.
I'm like, because I have to. Like, it just makes sense.
I will never talk about the loop to get into the media parking at Lincoln Financial Field.
Well, you're like me. You like to show up early.
Yeah, but even so, you got to do the loop. You can't go down 11th Street. Especially early in the season when everybody forgets they can't park in certain lots.
Yep.
Which is amazing to me.
I cracked up. This is maybe about 15, 16 years ago. You used to go, remember the back of the link, John, where it's closed? They closed it off now. You used to be able to get out that way. Yeah. And I would use that way to get out of Phillies game. I don't know if it was Eagles or the city that blocked it, but I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Because, not a lot of people used it. They must have caught on.
Yeah.
I found other ways. You adapt to survive in these conditions.
Yeah, it's ugly at times, but my whole life is about avoiding traffic. I say that all the time.
It's a good practice to have.
So I show up early and I leave late, and then I avoid traffic.
I do that with the Phillies. I try to get there as early as I can. I leave as late as I can. I don't care. Same with the Eagles.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. All right, how should we close it here with the Philadelphia Eagles as far as training camp? And we're inside of 2 weeks before they will be on the practice field.
We're gonna be sweating our butts off in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, sometime it's been really hot the last year. By the way, that's where I'll end it. What these Canadian wildfires, is this going to be like an annual thing now?
I think it is. Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't recall this every year. No, it's every year. What's going on up there, Canada?
Put some water. Put some water down. Do something. Well, it doesn't rain. That's
every
the other
year.
thing.
I'm like, what is going on? It's so, yesterday was so, because I wasn't paying attention to the weather. So,
I was.
I'm like, why is it so gray out? What
gray and hazy? Like,
yeah,
they moved the Phillies game up because the air quality is going to get worse. So people are like, why don't they just play today? I'm like, because it's literally going to be worse today.
Yeah,
they had to get it in.
It's bad already today.
And now we're supposed to get a tornado on Saturday.
Luckily, I can't smell anything. Evidently, but I took 1 million COVID tests. Never tested positive for COVID. I tell that story all the time because I was one of the 2 people that had to be tested every single day.
Why were you? Did we ever find out why you were one of the 2?
What's that?
Why were you one of the 2 that had to get tested every single day?
Because it was
you were like the guinea pig, right?
No, they basically, if something happened, so it rained, at that time they had the limit, the stupidity of COVID. I could talk about this for another 2 hours. The dumb shit we did. So in case it rained,
It's true though.
So in case it rained or something, and I had to go inside, they had to have reporters there, but they had to limit it. And so, at the time, Zach was the president. I was the vice president of the Pro Football Writers. So it was us 2, basically. And to do that, we had to get tested every day. Now, when I say tested every day, I don't mean every
stuff
day.
Up your nose, right?
Yeah. I don't mean every day of practice. I mean every day. When they had an off day, when they weren't there, when they weren't practicing, we had to drive into the complex, get a freaking giant Q-tip shoved up into her brain, drive out of the complex. So every day.
I'm happy to say I never took a single, not one COVID test.
You know what? Like 20 years from now, this country's going to be like, what did we do in 2020?
Oh, they already are. They should be. It was the dumbest shit in the history of the
I
world.
still say, like, the world ended in 19. Like, the summer of 2019 was awesome.
But
it really was.
So one of the things, so through all this, and I've taken literally hundreds of COVID tests, I've never tested positive. But through all this, there was a day or 2 where I got the chills or something, and I thought, oh shit, I'm going to test positive. And I never did. I never tested positive. But I'll tell you, and my wife tells me this all the time, I can't smell shit now. Like I can't smell anything. Like I have to get like really up to something. Like flowers, dog shit. It could be anything. I can't smell.
I'm up with a bag of dog.
I can't smell
in your
anything.
Face. Oh my God.
So I'm like, it's the wildfire stuff is out there. And my wife's saying, you can't smell that? And I'm like, I know. So I just thought it was hazy.
The smell was definitely pungent yesterday.
Yeah, I can't fucking smell it.
Yeah, I mean, that's surprising.
I asked Aaron Noah about it yesterday. He's like, well, it's not ideal.
So the point is, I never tested.
They moved the Phillies up though yesterday, didn't they, John?
They moved it up to 610. Oh yeah, boy, did that like they won't admit it, but man, did that screw up a lot of stuff. Because they'll be like, "Well, the Mets had it too." I'm like, I understand that, but I know you guys have a routine. When your routine is messed up, so.
All right, Jeff, we're over here. Good stuff, my friend. Always good getting you on. We missed you on Monday. Maybe we'll talk to you again on Monday. Continue.
I'll be here Monday if you guys need me Monday. Yeah, I took my little all-star vacation.
Yeah,
All-star, yeah, and what a game.
John had to rip you for it a little bit, Jeff. But don't worry, he wasn't too harsh on you. We were more harsh on the Milata ranking than we were.
Yeah, John texted me. He's like, come on Monday. I'm like, no, I ain't working.
I got all-star stuff. Well, he said I got all-star. I'm like, what the fuck?
I love the way I texted him too. I was waiting for just a smart ass response.
Jeff, don't you worry. I heard it too. What the fuck is Kerr doing at the All-Star game?
I said I've been to Super Bowls. I don't get there at 8 in the morning.
I just didn't want to do anything.
I know. I get it. You wanted to kick up and relax. All right, Jeff. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
See you guys.
All right, see you, bud.
Man. There's Jeff Kerr joining us right here on Birds 365. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here as we wrap up the week. Just one full week left, John, without any Eagle football, my friend.
Yeah. Can't get here soon enough. Actually, yeah. Maybe I should take some time to Jeff Kerr it. Now, but I got to do the show. I got to get up. And even if I didn't have to get up, Tank will get me up. So there you go. It's my life.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Johnny Mac, great stuff, my friend. We will catch up with you next week. And it should be a good one. I'll talk to you then. All right, brother. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good weekend, all. See ya.
All right, later, J Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen, joining us right here on Birds 365. Appreciate everybody being here on a football Friday. I see some of you Sith pots crying. Mayan, are you chirping at me? I defend this guy Mayan, and now he's freaking throwing me out to the wolves. He's throwing me to the wolves. Mayan, what the F, Mayan? I had a lot of stuff going on today. All right, we got tables getting delivered. I got the guy power washing out here. When I moved in last week, I texted my landlord right away. Yo, I don't know if your previous tenants didn't care. I don't like to live in slop. I need to get this place power washed. Can I do it? Or if you want to do it, we need to get somebody over here. Shout out to him. He fired back. So I'll get somebody over there this week. Boom. They're out there power washing as we speak. All right. They're out there power washing as we speak. I don't like to live in slop. Kimberly, let me check. Sorry if I missed it. I did. I'm sorry, Kimberly. It's also because Mila came through the international player program. That's true. You mean as to why he got rated or ranked lower? Correct, Kimberly. Agree. Tony, still nothing. I called Sioka yesterday. They said we're still looking. I'm dealing with the insurance with them. I mean, it's a nightmare. All right. Mayan, I'm pissed at you today, Mayan. Guy threw me to the wolves. Fredo, what up, Fredo? Howie should trade Ringo to Detroit for a safety or other player. What's Ringo worth? A bag of Cracker Jacks? What's he worth? A bag of Cracker Jacks? Yeah, Ryan, I'm renting right now. So I do have a landlord, like most people who don't own their home. Yes, Ryan, that's what that means. You fucking stunod. Fucking this guy Ryan. I never seen someone hate more than Ryan. It's always the dude in the lifted freaking Jeep Cherokees. It's always those guys that are the haters in life. You see a dude and he's got a lifted Jeep Cherokee. He's a hater. Just take it to the bank. He's a hater. Fucking Ryan. I need to get my money up so I can buy a house for my beautiful wife. I tell you what, though, we had a table get delivered today. I'm like, what the fuck? The Sills running is here. He owned property rights in LJ's head. I think that's true, Rasputin. All right. I think that's true. Keith, what the hell are you laughing at, Keith? Dude, Keith just drops in a crying emoji. What are you crying about, Keith? Brandon. Oh, no, my grandma died from COVID. She was 101 years old. Let's stop the whole world, right, Brandon? You are not allowed to start your business and make money. Mayan said so. The flying Mayan is here to stop you from living in a free country. Yeah, but I like doing that stuff, Keith. That hair. I don't know, dude. I think this hair is making a freaking comeback. Look at this thing. I think this hair is making a comeback. It's like the Cavaliers down 3-1. Oh, blocked by James. And here comes the hairline. Freaking thing's making a comeback. Homeownership. I can't for that one day. Yeah, classic Twiz. Gotta keep track of them breaker boxes. Yeah, Kimberly, you could say that again. No, Keith, I did not. Stop it, turkey. Correct, Jerry. He's pretty good. I talked to the previous guy that lived here he lived here for 4 years. And previous couple. And he did say the landlord's awesome. It's like a dude. It's not like a big company. So he's pretty cool. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, baby. Now we're talking. Yeah, buddy. My uncle is an electrical engineer, so he helps me. That freaking power wash looks good out there. Now I can set back up my outdoor patio furniture. I think we're going to be hosting the family this weekend. I got the Blackstone out. I got the cover. I got my little grill kit. Are you kidding me? I seasoned that sucker up. I got my spices. Come on, man. I'm freaking living good over here. I'm living my best life over here. We got the power washed patio. The side of the home's all clean now. Hopefully, I can't wait to go see it once I get off here. Yeah, it will, Jeff Bone. I got the 4-burner 36-incher. Are you kidding me, Bonehead? You know it'll get the job done. I got the metal cover with the tarp over it. Come on, man. Keeping that cooktop fine. Yeah, I know. It's not going to be a great weekend. But I think my family will be down the shore next weekend, so it is what it is, Jerry. We got to be up here this weekend. My cousin had twins a year ago, and it's their first birthday. You know, is this a new phenomenon? Everybody throws like big ass first birthdays for their kids. I finally put Ryan, good to know you know how to do something other than hate. Bro, it looks like the interstellar to stay your ass in the crib, dog. Yo, Keith, worry about yourself. Don't eat that cake in a year. What do you mean? Why would I think we got the top piece of it and froze it. Why wouldn't I eat it? Why wouldn't I eat it? Fredo, you think I live in New Jersey? You think I live in the communist state of New Jersey? Yeah, Jerry, I love the Pocono. You can get great property out there, great price. Nice land. You get some woods. You get some trees all around you. I like the Poconos. That makes they're both girls, Rasputin. So that makes sense. My niece, my brother's baby was a girl. She had a big first birthday. And my cousin's twins are both girls. So it makes sense that the parties are for the girls. Oh, you got sick from yours? Yeah, Rasputin. My immune system kicks ass. You know, I always chuckle. There's people out there they carry around, and some of you listening might be this person. They carry around like the pocket hand sanitizers. They shake a hand. Oh my God. They touch a railing. Oh my God. Like you're killing your immune system. Your immune system doesn't do shit. That's why when you get the sniffles and you're down for the count for a week, it's unbelievable. Kimberly, you were on to me earlier this week. Abe, I think my dad sent an email with the updates. You got to check your email. Abe, what are you? You're like a young buck. Email is like a fossil to you. And people wearing masks. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Yeah, Detroit. I think Detroit's even worse. Yeah, you could see these let me turn this off. You could see the areas all messed up. All right, I'm out of here. Let me go check out my power wash came out. Yeah, SMH is right. Rasputin, that's funny. That's funny. Just don't be one of those people that uses hand sanitizer every time your hand touches anything that's outside your house, you know? All right, love all you guys. Have a great weekend. It's supposed to storm. Keith is all worried about everybody leaving the home. Yeah, it doesn't look good this weekend. Tomorrow is supposed to be shitty. Tomorrow is supposed to be pretty shitty. But, yeah, bird gang. It's funny because today it says that the air quality is worse. But it was definitely more smelly yesterday and smoky yesterday. It's not as much today for me. I don't know how far you are from me. I think I actually know where you are because when I sent you some shit. I still got to send you a JAKIB shirt. They canceled my order for you because I don't know. I think they stopped producing that shirt. I'll get it done for you. Don't worry. Yeah, pretty crappy though all throughout the area. All right, guys. Love all you guys. Hit that like button. And I will catch you guys later.